Another beautiful day out of Ralph Wilson Stadium in Orchard Park. We bring you the greatest Raiders and the greatest Bills in Buffalo. Week 2 of the All-Time Rosters franchise and the home opener for the greatest Buffalo Bills. Brian Moorman drives it deep to Tim Brown, and we are underway. Brown returns the kick to the 23-yard line, and to the field for the Raiders is Kenny the Snake Stabler, one of 14 members of the Hall of Fame for Oakland, Las Vegas. Putrid performance, 118 yards and 2 interceptions in the Monday night loss to Denver 13-3 for Stabler. His Raiders will try and bounce back today against Buffalo. 1st and 10. They'll begin the game on the ground. This is Marcus Allen, one of 3 MVP running backs on display today. He joins Buffalo's O.J. Simpson and Thurman Thomas for week 2 of the all-time roster franchise in an outstanding battle between the Juice and this guy, Hall of Famer out of USC. Allen the call again. Shane Conlon brings him down for a loss. The Raiders offense, Hall of Fame receivers Tim Brown and Fred Biletnikoff join Dave Casper, also in the Hall of Fame, Marcel Reese, and this guy, Marcus Allen. He had the 9th greatest yard from scrimmage season in NFL history and is one of the great dual threats at running back in the history of the game. 2nd down and 11 yards to go for Stabler. They'll go back to the ground. This is Marcus Allen. And Butch Bird brings him down on a pickup of 7. The Bills defense shaken up with the injury to George Sames in the secondary. Butch Bird, Mike Stratton, Bruce Smith, and Cornelius Bennett round out the ones to watch for the Bills defense today. That defense was torn to shreds by Mahomes and the Chiefs last week, but Buffalo still won the game in a thrilling shootout, 24-21, back in the opener at Arrowhead. Toss, Bo Jackson slips a tackle at the 40, and Jackson's run out of bounds at midfield. Jackson also could have been in the not just MVP conversation, but also enshrined in Canton had he played longer. He has the 5th most yards per attempt in NFL history, but only played 4 seasons. And of course, that is a number that he doesn't qualify for because he doesn't have the requisite amount of attempts, does Bo Jackson. 2nd down, first drop back of the game for Stabler. He finds Brown to the 37-yard line. Move those chains to Tim Brown, the Hall of Fame receiver with 9 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. That is just his 3rd reception of this season. Gut run to Allen, who dances in the hole and powers his way to the 26. 1st down, Oakland, Las Vegas. Well, the Raiders look nothing like the team that was held to just 149 yards against Denver last week. Bills bring 5. Stabler guns it over the middle to Branch, who coupled for the Super Bowl championship in 1976. Arguably the greatest season in the franchise's rich history, dating back to 1960. It is a 17-yard gain. It's 1st and goal, Raiders. Stabler back to pass again. He finds another teammate of the 70s, Fred Biletnikoff, for the gain of 2. Methodical drive for the visiting Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders. 2 tight ends in on 2nd and goal. Snap, handoff inside to Josh Jacobs, who's in for the touchdown. Three fabulous running backs on display today. There's the 3rd, and he has the greatest rushing season in Raider history. That was in 2022. His 3rd carry of the year, and his 1st of the ball game is the 7-yard touchdown. Janikowski sends it deep for the Raiders. And Eric Moulds, a perennial Pro Bowler out of the 1990s for Buffalo and into the 2000s as well, returns, setting up the Bills in Jim Kelly, the Hall of Fame quarterback with a marvelous performance against the Chiefs last week. 304 yards and 2 touchdowns. just a yard behind Dan Fouts for the most in the league last week. His Bills, a long field to begin. They'll set up shop of their own 11. The other starting MVP on display too, O.J. Simpson. He's in the block, and Kelly throws this one incomplete to Gilchrist. The Bills offense with Gilchrist and Simpson in the backfield. Dawson Knox is the tight end. Andre Reed and Stephon Diggs and at receiver for the Bills. And James Lofton, also in the Hall of Fame, one to watch in the slot position for Buffalo. They join Stevie Johnson, Albert Dubenian, and Eric Moulds to round out the receiving corps. Kelly going deep, and that is incomplete. Jack Tatum knocks it away. The Raider defense played well against Denver last week. Willie Brown, Mike Haynes, Howie Long, Greg Townsend, and Lester Hayes. One to watch for Oakland, Las Vegas. Hall of Famers Charles Woodson and Ted Hendricks also notable starters for the Raiders. 3rd and 10. Late in the first, 7-0. The Raiders in front on the touchdown from Jacobs. Howie Long on the rush, and he nearly sacks the quarterback. Incomplete, and Brian Moorman checks in for the Buffalo punt. 42 yards a punt last week. The all-decade teamer averaged 45.5 yards per punt to lead the league in 2005. Tim Brown breaks a Clements tackle and brings it back 11 yards to the 44 of Buffalo. The all-time Bills on the heels of a Week 1 shootout against Kansas City, winning the game 24-21. The Raiders lost 13-3 at Denver on Monday night. Allen on the gut run. Picks up 4 on the play. The Raiders in the Super Bowl era have been the #1 offense in football 4 times: 1968, 1969, 1970, and 2002. Stabler fires over the middle to Powell. He's got it for a gain of 17 and the first down. Art Powell was there just before the Raiders' first #1 offensive season. He has the 2nd best yard per game average in Raider history, playing in the mid-60s. Bo Jackson motors at the 13. 25 yards already for Bo Jackson, who had 27 for the game, splitting carries with Marcus Allen against Denver last week. Under a minute left in a fast-moving first quarter. Here's Jacobs in the block. Stabler to Casper. Taken down to the 9. Let's check out the division leaders out of the AFC West. Denver and San Diego, winners last week. The Raiders, of course, lost to Denver on Monday night, and the Chiefs fell short against these Bills. The Chargers came back in a big way last week to knock out Minnesota. A 4th and long touchdown pass from Dan Fouts to Kellen Winslow, the difference in that game. Toss to Marcus Allen, and he's in for the touchdown. Janikowski for the extra point, and the kick is good. Marcus Allen, 6 carries for 40 yards and the touchdown. Nick Rice in hand, the Raiders running right down the teeth of that Bills defense, already with nearly 100 rushing yards in the first quarter of the game, and touchdown drives of 77 and 44. 8 seconds left in the first. Buffalo went 3 and out on its last possession. The Bills racked up 362 yards in the win against Kansas City last week. Here's Kelly back to pass. He throws to Diggs. Instead, it's Lester Hayes for the interception, and he brings it back all the way. Touchdown. Well, the Raiders have bounced back in a big way from last week's drubbing to Denver. 21 first quarter points for the Raiders. Most in any quarter from any team this season. And with 2 seconds left in the first, Oakland, Las Vegas, a dominant start with Lester Hayes on the interception. The 1980 Defensive Player of the Year, had 13 interceptions that season, tied for second most in NFL history. Molds closes the quarter with the touchback. End of one, and the Bills have been run off of the field. 21-0 Raiders in Buffalo. The all-time Oakland-Las Vegas Raiders have taken out some frustrations on the Bills with touchdown runs of Josh Jacobs of 7 and Marcus Allen, and then the pick six from Lester Hayes. You just can't make this stuff up. The Bills look nothing like the team that knocked out the Chiefs last week. They are just completely falling apart at home against these Raiders. The first quarter of the home season for the Bills. O.J. Simpson, a good idea to get him involved in the comeback try. A 14-yard gain on the play. The 1973 NFL MVP, O.J. Simpson, the only running back in the history of football to gain over 2,000 rushing yards in a 14-game season. Tatum brings him down. First down for the Juice, O.J. Simpson. He has the 11th most yards per game running the ball in the history of football, 83.2. Molds on the deep slant. Good for 14 and the first down. Well, it took Kelly about a quarter, but he has the Bills' opening first down of the ball game. Here's Kelly on a deep drop this time. Guns it to the sideline for his tight end, Dawson Knox. Ted Hendricks covering on the play. Second down and 10 yards to go here. Nick Rice in hand from sunny Orchard Park in upstate New York. 5-man rush. Kelly drops it off to Reed, who coupled for the 4 Super Bowl trips in the early 90s. Taken down by Hayes after the 2-yard gain. Just 3 for 8 to begin for quarterback Jim Kelly, the runner-up for the MVP in 1991 for the Bills. Kelly throws in traffic for Molds. That's now 3 first downs on this drive and a 3rd and 8 conversion to Molds. Jim Kelly retiring 9th on the all-time passing list. He was one of the best quarterbacks of the 90s. Simpson on the call. He was dragged down for a loss by McLaughlin. Kelly beating out Josh Allen for the number 1 quarterback position, and Jack Kemp rounds out the quarterback room for Buffalo this season. 2nd and 12. Inside run to Thurman Thomas. The 1991 NFL MVP, and Max Crosby makes the stop. Thurman Thomas led the league in total yards 4 years in a row in the 1990s and helped guide the Bills to 4 straight Super Bowls, as did Jim Kelly. On a 3rd down, he's hit as he throws, and that is tipped and nearly picked off. Swatted away by Terry McDaniel, perennial Pro Bowler out of the 1990s for the Raiders. Mormon, with already 1 coffin corner this season, this time drives it into the end zone for the touchback. Boy, the Raiders have made a statement in a bounce-back first half at the Bills. We'll see if they can add on to it. They have scored on each of their first 2 offensive drives. Stabler on the deep drop. Fires over the middle. Biletnikoff gets decked but picks up the first down. Cornelius Bennett already 3 tackles today, 9 this season, and he had 6 for loss last week against the Chiefs. Inside run to Marcus Allen. Not much running room that time. Stratton with the stop, hit initially by Bruce Smith, who is the only Hall of Famer on that Buffalo defense. They have talented players on all 3 levels of the defense, but only one enshrined in Canton, and it is the all-time sack leader in the NFL, Bruce Smith. He's 1 of 5 on the rush. Stabler on 2nd down. Under duress, and down he goes. Fred Smerlas, a terrific pass rusher as well. The 5-time Pro Bowler out of Boston College, forces 3rd and 16 for the Raiders, who were just 22% on 3rd down last week. Stabler lobs it to Jackson on the screen. Wrapped up by tally, and the Raiders, with 2 minutes left in the first half, are going to have to punt for the first time today. They have one of the greatest punters in the history of the game in Shane Lechler, third of the all-time punt average list, second of the all-time punt yardage list, and he sends this one away. Lechler with a deep punt. My goodness, the hang time on this one. Clemens spilled to the 27. It's a return of 9 with Lester Hayes on the stop. A chance for the Bills to score in a 2-minute drill and get right back in the game. They're desperate for something on offense. They had 3 first downs in the last drive. Kelly flips it to Molds for the gain of 5. The Bills are going to have to play the hurry-up game on this possession. And the Bills are starting to look a little more productive down the tail end of this half. First completion of the game to Dawson Knox. And he was wrapped up a yard away from the marker. The Bills were 44% on third down last week. They need one. Kelly against the 5-man rush. Completes to Stephon Diggs. First down Buffalo. Grayson makes the stop. Diggs led the league in receiving in 2020 with the Bills, acquired from Minnesota that season. Diggs again, out of bounds at the 37. Diggs also has the most yards per game in Buffalo history at 81.4. More than even the Hall of Famers of Andre Reed and James Lofton.
False start, offense, first down.
Second false start penalty of the quarter for Buffalo. Joe Delamanure, one of the 2 Hall of Famers on that Bills offensive line, guilty of the false start. A very good and talented front 5 for Buffalo. Kelly shoots it deep to Diggs. Another first down catch for Stephon Diggs, the 4-time Pro Bowler out of Maryland, with the first down for the Bills. He made the Pro Bowl every season since joining the Bills in 2020 in his fabulous career with Buffalo. OJ upended the 12. Timeout, head coach Marv Levy. 55 seconds left in the half. First red zone trip of the day for Buffalo. Kelly to the end zone. Incomplete. 2-time All-Pro and the Hall of Famer out of Arizona State, Mike Haynes, with blanket coverage in the outside. Bills at the 12-yard line. They were terrific in the red zone last week. Draw to Simpson, and he had no chance. We've got a man down for the Raiders, too. And that is a big loss up front for Oakland, Las Vegas. Chester McLaughlin, former first-round pick of the 92 draft out of Clemson. He is hurt on the play. Chip shot between the uprights for Ryan Lindell with the game winner last week. 4 for 4 this season, and the Bills scored their first points of the game. This would be quite the comeback for Buffalo, and if you want to win the game, you're going to need to score some points, and they did right there to close the final few minutes of the first half. Daniels returns to the 24. The tackle by Bryce Powell. The Raiders, they are capable of doing this. We'll see if they can put it together. They have 38 seconds to go about 40 yards for field goal range out of Janikowski. Stabler gets rid of it to Blitnikoff. It's a one-hand catch. Timeout, John Madden and the Raiders. 33 seconds left in a timeout for Oakland, Las Vegas. Blitz. Stabler flips it to the left. Allen in open space has the first down. And the Raiders will run the no huddle here. They may have too little time, and indeed they'll call their final timeout with 21 seconds left in the first half. Glad you're with us. Nick Rice in hand. The Raiders in a blowout lead the Bills 21-3. Buffalo just chipped in a field goal to close their last drive with Lindell. Stabler into traffic for Branch. He's got it to the 49. And this offense will get one final crack at it with time winding down in the first half. 3 receivers in for this offense. We'll see just how big of an arm Stabler has. He looks and heaves it into the end zone. And that pass is intercepted by Jones. First half complete from Buffalo, and the Raiders in a rout lead the Bills 21-3. Second half coming up next. Welcome back to beautiful Orchard Park in upstate New York. Ralph Wilson Stadium for Week 2 of the All-Time Rosters franchise and the home opener for the greatest Buffalo Bills. Terrence McGee on the return. Stacked up by Matt Millen at the 14. The all-time Buffalo Bills, without a Super Bowl championship in their rich history dating back to 1960, but still an incredible ball club. Jack Tatum on the tackle. The Bills with, of course, 4 trips to the big game, winners of the AFC, 8 members of the Hall of Fame, and 28 first-team All-Pros on this football team. Kelly from the end zone drops it off to OJ, who might be the greatest player of them all. 11 of 18 with 113 yards today for the Bills quarterback. A far cry from the performance we saw last week for the Bills quarterback at Kansas City. Bills in danger of a 3-and-out to begin the third. Kelly guns it deep to Moulds. He got it, but appeared to have been out of bounds. Indeed he was. 3-and-out for the Bills, and Brian Moorman, the all-decade teamer out of Pittsburgh State out of the 2000s, is in the punt for Buffalo. Moorman sends it away, deep but returnable for the Raiders' Tim Brown at the 42. He is spun down to the 49 of Buffalo by Bryce Powell. Well, the Raiders have an embarrassment of riches, especially on offense. For the all-time Rosters franchise, it is amazing just how good they are on this end of the ball.
False start, offense, first down.
A false start up front, broadcasters jinx, but it all starts up front. 6 All-Pros and Hall of Famers Jim Otto, Gene Upshaw, and Art Shell headline the big boys up front for the Raiders. They also have 3 Hall of Famers at skill position spots out wide. Dave Casper, along with Cliff Branch, Fred Biletnikoff, and Tim Brown. And then Marcus Allen, another Hall of Famer at running back, and Ken Stabler, 2-time league leader in pass touchdowns and in completion percentage, and the 1974 NFL MVP. He's their quarterback for this year, too. Marcus Allen into the secondary. First down, Raiders. A little over 4 yards a carry last week, but a healthy 7 yards a run for the former Trojan in this week's game against Buffalo. First down to the 34-yard line. They'll go ground on the draw to Allen, and Bruce Smith chases him down. First down, Oakland, Las Vegas. The Raiders also in Los Angeles, it should be noted. They have been around the West Coast throughout their illustrious history. Stabler throws it away. Incomplete. The Raiders as a franchise have won 52% of their games with Super Bowl championships in 1976, 1980, and 1983. Draw to Bo Jackson. Nowhere to go. Bruce Smith with 200 career sacks, the most in NFL history. 8-time All-Pro, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, one of the greatest defensive linemen in the history of the game. In my vote, just as good as anybody, minus Reggie White. Incomplete to Biletnikoff, and the Raiders will settle for this 43-yard Janikowski field goal. He split his 2 tries last week in the loss to Denver. This is really a chip shot for him, and the kick is good, close to the right upright, but it extends the already impressive Raider lead. It's 24-3 with 4:09 to go in the third. Deep kickoff to Mould to the 2-yard line, and he is decked at the 20. Well, if they're going to make a move, they've got to make it now. The Bills really need to cut into their lead on this possession. and they're 80 yards away from the end zone. Passing situation, just about from here on out, despite the presence of O.J. in the backfield. Reed, first down Buffalo. 125 yards today for quarterback Jim Kelly of the Bills. As mentioned, he threw for 304 yards last week in the win against Kansas City and guided the Bills with under a minute to go on the game-winning drive against the Chiefs. Reed for another first down, a gain of 16. The Raiders have 3 Hall of Famers in that secondary, Mike Haynes, Willie Brown, and Charles Woodson. So Jim Kelly's got his hands full today. Just the second run of the day for O.J., rather the fourth, my apologies, and a gain of 5. 4 carries for 4 yards, that'll not get it done. Simpson had 63 yards last week, and really, he didn't play very good in that game either, certainly by his standards. We're still looking for that breakout game out of the Juice. Dawson Knox, good for the first on a gain of 10. Under 2 minutes left in the third. The Bills have got to score on this drive. Time is of the essence, trailing 24-3. 4-man rush with a twist. Reed picks up a couple, 154 yards for the day out of Jim Kelly on 15 of 23 passes. Jim Kelly, former 14th overall pick in 1983 for Buffalo, but he did not play with the Bills until much later. O.J. to the 12. First down, Buffalo. The Bills in prime position to score their first touchdown of the game, and they desperately need it. O.J. Simpson finds a hole and crawls to the 7. 32 yards on 6 carries for O.J. Simpson. It really was a matter of time before he'd have a bigger role in this offense, even with the huge deficit for Buffalo. Considering he was the focal point of the 1970s offense for Buffalo, he was some football player. Here's his backup, Cribbs, in for the touchdown. And the Bills are right back in the game with 4 seconds to go in the third. This is Joe Cribbs for the score. Led the league in yards per game rushing in 1982, then had a contract dispute. In 1984 was never the same, but he was some football player and an outstanding backup for the Bills at running back, and he goes in for the touchdown. Mormon to close out the third quarter, drives it to the 1-yard line for Tim Brown. And Brown motors to about the 20 where Green makes the stop. Fourth quarter coming up next, and the Bills are back in the game. Welcome back. Nick Rice in hand, Ralph Wilson Stadium in upstate New York. The entire Week 2 action of the All-Time Rosters franchise available this weekend, but first it's the Raiders searching for their first victory of the season. And they have run the ball down the teeth of this Buffalo defense today. 78 yards on 11 carries for their star running back, Marcus Allen. The Raiders have already run as a team for over 125 yards today, and they'll go to the ground again. Allen across the 30, taken down to the 39. An incredible performance from Marcus Allen of the Raider running backs today. Josh Jacobs, Bo Jackson, and the Hall of Famer out of USC. One of the only guys in the history of the game as Marcus Allen goes over 100 on that carry. One of the only players in the history of football to win a Heisman Trophy, to win a Super Bowl, and also to make the Hall of Fame. An incredible collegiate career at USC and also professional career. Jackson in front of Reese. Bo Jackson across the 50, and he's got the first down. I mean, this is an unreal tandem of running backs to stop. And also, we haven't seen anything out of Clem Daniels running the ball today. He is the 4th-string running back for Oakland, Las Vegas. Bo Jackson sweeps to the 40. And taken down to the 39. Considering the offensive line he's running behind, an incredible offense it should be this season. Jim Otto, Gene Upshaw, and Art Shell in the Hall of Fame, joined by Wayne Hawkins, Dave Dalby, Henry Lawrence, Lincoln Kennedy, Don Mosbar, Steve Wisniewski, Colton Miller, and Harry Shaw. First down to Tim Brown. With under 5 minutes left in the ball game, the Raiders are just about ending any chances of a Buffalo comeback today. They'll go back to the ground. Allen, it seems every time, isn't hit until he reaches the first down line, near the first there. We've got one of the Bills hurt, number 30, Henry Jones, an All-Pro and a league leader in interceptions in 1992. Another defensive back hurt for the Bills. Now with Jones out of the game, the Bills are even shorter in the secondary. Stabler throws to Casper for the first down. Ironically, it's the running game that has hurt the Bills defense today. But that secondary, very thin as well. Now Green joins Jarris Bird as the safeties for Buffalo right now. We'll see if Jones will miss any serious time for Buffalo this season. Allen inside of the 10. Third trip in the red zone, and it's been money for this football team in today's game. 2 touchdowns and as many red zone trips. Gut run to Jackson. And Stratton makes his 5th stop of the game and his 9th of the season. Mike Stratton, a 6-time Pro Bowler out of Tennessee, played with the team from 1964 to 1972. Handoff to Jackson, and he's in. Touchdown. Oakland, Las Vegas. The Raiders running backs have 3 touchdowns today, and that will just about do it. Janikowski hits the extra point, and with 2:39 to go in Orchard Park, Bo Jackson joins the touchdown party, and the Raiders have put this one away. It's 31-10, Oakland, Las Vegas. The Raiders bounce back after their humiliating defeat to Denver last week with a big win against the all-time Buffalo Bills. The Bills will be searching for some pride points as they begin this drive of their own 16. The Bills will try and bounce back next week. A Hall of Fame showdown at quarterback as Jim Kelly faces Tom Brady and the Patriots in Buffalo. Connors makes the stop after the 2-yard gain. The Raiders will play their home opener next week against Joe Namath, Curtis Martin, and the all-time New York Jets. 16 of 24 with 157 yards and an interception in today's game for Hall of Famer Jim Kelly. He's really a hero for the franchise who had a putrid mark in the 80s since the departure of O.J. Simpson. Kelly on a 3rd down and 5. He tucks it for the first and slides at the 31-yard line. We'll see if the Bills can get a playoff before the 2-minute warning. They will. First down on a 4-man Raider rush. Kelly shoots it deep. And that is incomplete. Nearly picked off by Tatum. We'll see if the Bills defense, down both George Sames for another few weeks with broken ribs and Henry Jones for the foreseeable future, who missed the rest of today's game with a upper body injury. That still to be disclosed. We'll see with the injury report this coming Monday the status of Jones moving forward. We'll see what that defense looks like moving forward. Molds over the middle. And the Bills are going to try their opening 4th down of the season. They need the 42-yard line. Kelly throws over the middle to Molds, and he's got it for the first. Grayson makes the stop. First down. Kelly unloads to the sideline for Molds. It looked like he was inbounds. The officials will discuss it. And yes, they'll give him the catch. Both the Raiders and the Bills now are 1-1 this season after the Raider blowout in Buffalo, 31-10. Intercepted by Mike Haynes, and this game is over. Hayes and Haynes with interceptions today for the Raiders. It was a complete blowout in Orchard Park. Congratulations to the Raiders who win their first game of the all-time rosters franchise.